Tolulope Adeleru Balogun. I work with Nigeria Info 99.3 here in Lagos. I have like 3 hats that I wear, particularly with my organization. I host Morning Crossfire. That's a 5-hour live show Monday through Fridays, and it deals with politics, socioeconomic issues, health, science, what's trending, entertainment, even what the people are saying on the streets. That's on a daily basis. The second hat I wear is producer, because in the current situation, or the current office where I work, I'm my own producer. So I don't have a team running behind me. I'm the one who's running through the walls, who's scaling the walls and doing everything. And then secondly, thirdly right there, I'm also the team lead for Nigeria Info. So if new shows are coming up, it has to run through me. We have new people who want to join the team, it goes through me. New ideas, new content, anything, always will go through me before it gets to management. So on a day-to-day basis, I am connected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I find myself reading every single story I come across, staying up to date with what the National Assembly is doing, staying up to date with what the presidency is doing, staying up to date with what the regions and the geopolitical zones as well as the states are doing. So after I switch off and I sign off at 10 o'clock, that's not the end of it, because my mind is already prepping for the next day. What I love about my job is always being on it, because literally my job is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no off button, especially particularly how I do my job and the job I do. Now, if you're in radio and you're in entertainment and music, it's slightly easier. Not to say that they have it easy as well, but it's slightly easier. But in politics, in thinking or discussing the economy or the environment, I'm constantly looking out for the big stories, whether they're local or international. Internationally, I'm looking for the stories and seeing how I can localize them into Nigeria. What are the ramifications of Donald Trump becoming president, and how is it going to affect the price of Gari? Those are some of the connections I have to make for my listeners every day. It's a challenge, but it's also one of the things I love, because it makes me aware of what's going on in the world. It keeps me on the world's pulse. So basically, I know what's happening. I know how they're discussing terrorism in France and Germany, and what ramifications may have for Syrian refugees, and what it might mean for Nigerian immigrants who are trying to go to Europe. So all those connections are the kind of things I love, knowing what's happening around the world and how it affects us in Nigeria. The challenge is, again, the job is 24/7. When I wake up sometimes and I check Twitter, I'm like, the world ended. What happened? Just 5 hours away from social media, and so many things have changed. So that's one of the challenges, making sure I'm keeping up to date, making sure the information is correct, and I'm making the right connections for my audience, for my listeners, for people who follow me on social media, and then just keeping the conversation going. Particularly with Nigeria, I find that education is a problem. So part of the job I do has to constantly be to educate people on why these things are important to know. Why it's important not just to focus on electing a president, but focus on electing members into the National Assembly. And so those connections are the biggest part of what I love, being able to educate and enlighten people. They're also the biggest part of what constitute challenges in doing it, because there are different levels of awareness and education among the Nigerian populace, and you have to fight to make sure everyone is on the same page. They can have their different viewpoints, their different perspectives, but at least we all have a jumping off point that's the same when we're having any kind of conversation. The industry has to do is to acknowledge there's a problem, and I acknowledge fully, wholeheartedly, that there is a massive problem. Additional to that is the quality of the graduates, because not everybody who ends up in this industry studied mass communication. It happens everywhere. Sometimes you find it's a second passion for you. It's a life you come into without really expecting it. But the quality of basic education for university graduates leaving university, whether they're going to mass comm or they're going into banking, it needs to be better. The writing is horrible. The reporting, I listen sometimes like, And I really think the standards have to be up. We've made it too easy for people to enter into the profession. And by the time you start making the standards more stringent and harder, people will be saying, is it Jesus that's going to come and report? Well, at this point in time, yes, because the industry has found itself in such a position where the quality, the ethics, the morals, everything about a profession are being called into question. How do you change that? It has to be strict. You don't just wake up and say you want to be an OAP and get on air. You don't just have an accent and come from the abroading, as we like to say in my office, and get on air. There have to be hoops that you jump through. I've been doing this for about 10 years now, and I think I've seen a lot. And I think that's one of the things. The quality has to be better. The quality of the graduates who are graduating, then the stations themselves, be them radio stations, be them newspaper outfits, print, be them TV stations, they have to be very cautious of their criteria, because not only are the individuals who are reporters or presenters for them representing themselves individually, they're representing individual media organizations. Do you want your media organizations be connected or known with somebody who either does not know how to write English, because yes, whether you like it or not, English is the language we're using, with somebody who gives out false information all the time, with somebody who writes clickbait articles just so people will click and they'll have page views on their websites? No. So the criteria from the stations, also for the media organizations, also has to be increased. And I think we need a journalism school. You can name so many abroad. I know in the US they have the Columbia School of Journalism, they have the Knight School of Journalism, they have so many, and I think we need a definitive journalism school in Nigeria where when you go through it and you come out with that certificate, you put it on any editor's desk and they take you without thinking twice. Right now, you're getting that with some schools, mainly particularly private schools, but I think for a school of journalism, we need to do that and be able to have people go through it. Even people like me who've been doing this for a while, do a refresher course. We need to be continuously trained, and organizations need to do the training themselves. If you are able to send one person for a CNN training, or BBC training, Aljazeera training, that individual needs to come back to the organization and spread it around. It has to be done. Until we can do that and step it up, the Nigerian audience will continue to look at us with one eye open. There's a lack of trust. It's a trust issue. Part of it is a global problem, and I don't want to solely lay it at the feet of social media, but social media has put a lot of pressure on people. You want to be the first to break the news. You want to be the one who gets the highest number of retweets. You want to have the highest number of followers. So it's put a lot of pressure on media organizations to sort of not bend the rules, but yeah, there's no other word, slightly bend the rules in order to stay ahead of the race. Nigeria's own problems are more localized, or the problems locally are different because of the issue of politics, how politics plays into it, how the owners of the media organizations may be in bed with politicians, may be looking for contracts. And so as much as it is a global problem, whatever the local problem is or the local ramifications of the problem are, we need to address it in Nigeria. Proud to be a Nigerian broadcast journalist. I love what I do. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy every day hearing some callers tell me, no, Tolu, I don't agree with you, and this is why. I like having debates. I think debate is healthy for a society. It's healthy for a democratic society. If we all sit down and attempt to think the same, look the same, be the same, there's no way society is going to develop. So when you have opportunities for people to express their thoughts without ranting and raving, and lay out different types of arguments, it develops a society. When we're able to constantly talk about our democracy, what our governors are doing, what our senators and national and House of Representatives members are doing, what our presidents are doing, we continue to be able to keep them in check. We let them know that we're watching, and that there are new demands, there are new things that we expect them to do, that the old way of doing things is not the same. So I definitely love what I do. It gives me an opportunity to educate people, to enlighten them, to broaden their horizon. They don't have to listen to my show and end up agreeing with me, but in just listening and hearing somebody else's viewpoint, I think it expands all of our minds in the long run. I think we can. If we're going to, it's one of the things, some people are going to lose their jobs. You either meet up, step up, or you get out. And I think we can. It just comes down to one media organization, two media organizations saying that, no, we want our platform to represent this. We want to be known in this light. We want to have professionalism and ethics and morality, not necessarily morality, but ethics and professionalism be the words that you associate with our organization and with anybody who represents us. So I think we can. It's also going to take an investment in money, because those things don't come cheaply. The work that they do is not cheap. Sending your reporters out to cover stories is not cheap. Getting life insurance for them in cases of them covering conflicts is not cheap. So there is going to require an investment, but I think eventually we will get there, and that's where we're going, because with the advent of social media, with satellite television, the audience is seeing how things are done abroad. And so the demand for us to step it up is there. So the person or the media organization who comes forth, steps it up, and shows Nigerians that a Nigerian media organization can also bring you that international flair, it's going to happen. If you're looking to do this for the celebrity, yeah, there are a few celebrities among us, but a lot of us are doing this because it's what we love to do, not because of the red carpets, not because of the opportunity to have our pictures taken or be on the front pages of newspapers and be trending, but because it's what we love to do. Genuinely ask yourself, why is it that you want to be part of the Nigerian media? If the answer to that question is anything less than passion, anything less than wanting to do this because you feel you can impact people's lives, anything less than wanting to do this because you feel like you can contribute something, then I would seriously suggest you have a rethink, because eventually one day you will wake up and ask yourself, why am I doing this? If you can't answer that question before you enter into this profession, I think this profession just might not be for you. If you're already into this profession, constantly train yourself. It's easy to get in here and find out that in 10, 15 years you've been doing the same thing, sometimes with the same media organization, sometimes the same way for those 10, 15 years. There are a number of resources online, free resources. There are a number of scholarships available to either travel outside of Nigeria or even be trained by international organizations in Nigeria. Constantly train yourself. There are even people inside Nigeria who have started retraining and refresher courses from the things that they've learned. Challenge yourself. Don't do something the same way you've done it for the past 10 years. Learn from the younger folks who come in. There's nothing wrong in letting them put you through social media, in letting them putting you through the new forms of journalism and how citizen journalism is impacting the traditional forms of media and journalism. Learn each and every single day. For somebody who's been in this industry, if you're also not on social media, then I really don't know what you're doing. Whether you're in print, you're in broadcast, whatever form of the media you're in, social media is the way to go. Follow the international organizations, follow the local organizations. It gives you a pulse, it gives you an idea, because we can all walk on the streets and hear what some Nigerians are saying. We can enter the bars and hear what some Nigerians are saying, but social media is another avenue now to hear what Nigerians are saying, what they think about issues. And it helps you to find the stories, the big ones that you can localize and find out how you can make those connections for Nigerians. And then, of course, you'll be surprised at some of the missed local stories that you'll also find on social media as well. Retrain, retrain, retrain. Refresh, refresh, refresh. It's a 24-hour job. If you put down your pen and you submit an article, if you finish a broadcast and you leave the studio and you think you're done for the day, that's not it. You're constantly on. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The stories are there in the back of your head because you're constantly looking to make sure that your listeners, your viewers, your readers know what's going on. Be on all the time. And if you happen to be one of those blessed individuals who owns a media organization, a lot of this is in your hands. When you train your staff, when you require them to be trained over and over again, when you provide refresher courses for them, when you pay them well, when you take care of them, you get the best out of them. People who are not paid well, who are owed salaries, you leave them open to being susceptible to the issues of the brown envelope. You leave them open to being susceptible to killing a story because someone offers them money. When you owe your staff salaries, when you treat them badly, when you don't pay them what they're worth, you cannot get the best out of them. So don't complain when sometimes you see that you're not getting the quality that you require from your staff. Do the right thing by them, and I tell you, they will do the right thing by you. I'm very proud to be part of the Nigerian media. I think we have a lot of growing to do. I think there's opportunity for new people to come in who do things differently. I think there are opportunities for it not to just be print and not to just be TV and radio. There are people who are strictly online now. There's so many opportunities. But until we get the quality right, the professionalism, the ethics of this profession, we'll continue to have a situation where Nigerians look at us with a trust issue. They need to trust our word because we're the ones who help them safeguard the democracy. We're the ones who help them know what to do, what to talk about. We're the ones who can drive any type of mental revolution that this country needs. My name is Tolulope Adeleru Balogun, and I am the Nigerian media.